Broadway's hottest tickets are right here each and every week on The Broadway Show. I'm Tamsen Fadal. Glad to have you with us. They are some of the grand masters of Broadway: Lea Michele, Aaron Tveit, and Nicholas Christopher, starring in the Cold War musical Chess. Here's Paul Wontorek with more.
You know, there's nothing I like more than talking to a Broadway star who's like currently operating at their A game, and to talk to three all at once is just such a thrill, honestly. Are you feeling like you're really like performing at a peak?
Yeah, I think what the three of us, what we have to do every night is not easy. It's really hard, and I can definitely feel that it's challenging, but that we are reaching that every night. And the number one factor here is we have the most incredible audiences that are having the best time. I've never experienced anything like it before. And when you feel that energy from the audience, and then you physically feel what you're doing yourself every night, and those two things combine, it is a very sort of special, unexplainable feeling where you're like, oh wow, this is really something amazing.
40 years ago, I fell in love with this beautiful, weird, thrilling Broadway musical, and very misunderstood Broadway musical, and I've been waiting for people to understand it. And the three of you are very essential to the success of what we're seeing in Chess, honestly. You know, but Broadway is tricky. You know, we just saw this with Merrily We Roll Along, right? You know, there's this talk of Broadway flops. What was your personal history with this show? Were you aware that this was sort of a gem that needed to be polished for new audiences?
For me, I just knew the song Anthem because, you know, being at theater camp. But yeah, so I knew there was some sort of like weird classical rock pop Broadway show out there, but I had no idea. Now with the understanding of it, the depth, both for the love that I have for the music and for the story we're telling, but then also the audiences, their love for the music and the storytelling. And now we're seeing parents who had seen one of the 68 shows that during the first run on Broadway bringing their kids, or people from London who had seen the original London version now coming over and bringing their kids. So it really seems like this sort of generational love and passion for this musical is now bringing people together, which is so exciting.
Yeah, it's so cool, right? I was thrown the Chess album when I became a theater major in college because I had friends that just threw content at me to say, listen to this, learn this. And Chess was one of the ones that I was given and I listened to, and the songs were amazing. You know, so this music has just been in my head for, 20 plus years, and I can understand why it's been in people's heads since they saw it in the 80s. But as you said, Nick, I've been kind of amazed how many people, because when people come to the show, I say, okay, what did you know about Chess?
Right.
And it's either I get a lot of nothing or everything, right? Mm-hmm. There's like nothing in between, but so many people have come and said that they saw the show on Broadway. It's incredible that for something that ran for seemingly such a short amount of time here in New York, just found this kind of cult love following that people have for it, and people have been back. So it's really, I still can't believe that we're getting to do this as a thing that people have always said, oh, I hope Chess has a revival. So there's nights we're on stage, I'm like, wow, we're really getting to do Chess. It's pretty wild.
And there are moments of it that feel like I'm watching the Grammy Awards. You come down stage right during I Know Him So Well, you sweep down. I literally felt like I was watching the Grammy Awards.
Awesome.
You know what I mean? Like you get these rock star moments.
Yeah.
How thrilling is that for you on stage? Because it's interesting that you're playing these characters so deeply, but yet also getting these great showy theatrical moments.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really awesome. I feel so fortunate to play such a rich and dynamic woman on the stage that gets to have these really intense but very different moments with both of these two men, and then at the same time get to have these unbelievable, cool, like you said, sort of like rock star singing moments. And every night when I sing Nobody's Side, I'm like, I am not cool enough to be singing this song. but I'm going to give it, but I'm going to give it my all, and I love it.
Freddie Trumper, he's got a lot going on.
He's got a lot going on. He's got a lot going on, and he's created a lot going on too. So there's both things happening. Yeah.
I mean, what did you love about his psychological profile that you got to bring to the audiences?
I'm interested in this guy's mental health state. The idea of trauma and childhood trauma, right? Those are the things that I was really thinking about. I mean, we live in a day and age where any 11-year-old with a phone can all of a sudden get all this notoriety because they post a video online and 1 million people watch it, right? But we don't know what the cost of that is going to be in 15 or 20 years. And so to think about this guy who was thrust into the world stage at 11 years old with what we learned later, with no support system, no family structure behind him, it started to make sense to me how and why he could become who he is and be in this very, very terrible codependent relationship where he treats someone so horribly, but why he does that and why he can't get over, the blocks he has. So I was just interested in, even though this guy's not necessarily the nicest guy, like his humanity and then, it's just really nice that that song in the second act, hopefully the audience has seen this whole thing happen and then they go, oh, this is why this person is kind of the way he is.
Is it a heavy load? I mean, you also have this incredible...
Nick cries so hard every night. Nick wins the crying award.
Talk about childhood
trauma. That says a lot, because I usually am the crier. But we have a cry-off at the end of the show.
Yeah. And I've been called TT in other shows for Teary Tveit, so it's...
Oh,
so I'm not as TT in this show.
TT.
That's okay, that's just how we do it.
That's my new nickname for you.
TT,
I'm going to put you in my phone as that.
Yeah, throw it in there. Yeah, there's a lot. It was a lot of stuff, but yeah.
It feels like a true exploration of self. What I have is the sounds of the incredible voices behind me, the sound of the orchestra, and then it's just this sort of like void of blackness where I get to really explore Anatoly's life or my own life sometimes, or my own insecurities sometimes, or Anatoly's insecurities sometimes, and yet there's the added ingredient to the mix of all of these eyes on you at the same time, where it takes an incredible amount of focus to then be able to share a real piece of myself with the audience every night.
That's such a good way to describe that. Yeah, because it's a hard thing to do.
Yeah,
and you
I'm
just
almost crying now. Damn,
you
TT.
just like open your whole, But you do. You just like open your whole jacket and you're like, look at me, right?
Yeah,
So that's a great way to describe it.
Stranger Things just wrapped up its 5th and final season on TV, but a new animated series is headed to Netflix, Stranger Things Tales from '85. And Broadway is still upside down with a mind-bending Stranger Things prequel. I caught up with one of the stars of Stranger Things, the first shadow, Alison Jaye. All right, let's talk Stranger Things.
Yes, all things Stranger Things.
All things Stranger Things. How's it going? You're in what show? How many shows has it been over?
So we just figured this out that I think today is 327 shows. If not, we're around 300 and something shows right
Does
now.
that feel surreal?
At the same time, it feels in moments like we just begun and in moments like I've only ever done this my entire life. So 300 and I was just looking back at my journal about when I moved to New York to do this and was like, oh, we started rehearsals, maybe it was last week or something, a year ago.
What did your journal say when you first moved to New York? Where did you move to New York from?
So I'm actually from New York.
Okay.
I was living in LA for the past 11 years. My family is still here.
Oh, wow.
So, which has been an amazing homecoming all around. My friends, my family. I actually grew up working on Broadway as a kid. So this overall has felt like a large homecoming. So the journal entries kind of massaged that idea. It was talking about like, okay, you're coming home, you're coming back to the stage, where you grew up, where all of your most formative memories and your years like becoming a person were. What are your expectations? What are your fears? And what are you like the most excited about? And so I'm a big journaler. There's books and books.
Do you look at your fears on that now and say, hey, I've conquered some of those? What were your fears then?
I think some of the fears at the time were recognizing the big shoes to fill, knowing this character is one of Winona Ryder's most iconic characters she's created, and feeling like I want to pay the most respect and like homage to her and this character while also feeling the freedom to explore who I am in this role. But I think a lot of my fears were just like, I don't want to be buried alive with the idea of I have to become her. It's like, no, they're asking you to celebrate who you are in this position, in this role. So that fear has slowly been washed away.
What has season 5 done for you all in terms of audience and enthusiasm? I know what it's done like out in the world.
Yes.
What has it done over on Broadway?
The season 5 touchdown in the Marriott Marquis is big. I would say what's happening, these audiences have taught me a lot. I've never experienced audiences like these audiences before. Most people have never been to a live theater production in their life. And I think what has been unbelievable is the level of excitement fans have of feeling like they're learning things and discovering things that nobody else knows. And those little nuggets are only on stage, so they're not captured anywhere else.
We're taking another look at one of the amazing shows soon to be headed to Broadway.
Time will always bring another war to fight, another
make it through the night, if we get another day, if all is not yet lost, and there's something to be saved, may we not forget how close we came to saying goodbye.
Vampires are coming for Broadway this spring. It's a killer new musical, The Lost Boys, based on the cult classic 1987 film.
If we make it through the night, if we get the chance to change, if we can forgive ourselves and make up for our mistakes,
I'll do better by my brother, 'cause forever we're tied, we'll never be broken if we make it through the night.
Being able to be a part of a story like this, especially one that's been around for a very long time, but then telling it in a new, unique way, while still honoring what the movie was, but like being able to flesh out what was behind the eyes of everyone on screen it's an honor.
My mother introduced me to it because it's beloved by the film industry, and at the time I was doing a lot of film, and I watched it, and you know, directors, producers were like, "You haven't watched it yet? It's like one of the film's greatest things." So I watched it and I adored it, and immediately. And I love everything about it. And it's a great thing to have in the back of your head when you're going through this process of just like knowing what it was like. You know, every single moment has sort of a picture from that movie in my head. And I think it's just a great base to go off of.
We knew like the movie like sang. When you see this music land on people for the first time, how powerful these songs are. And that was something for us as we wanted to put together a musical, especially three guys that started out in musical theater, how important the score is.
I definitely stalked the Rescues for years before getting them to write this musical. I mean, what I love about their music is it's like somewhere between your favorite rock or pop album and your favorite musical. It's emotional, it tells a story, it's dramatic. And what they can do as singers, I mean, if you get a chance, like listen to the Rescues sing, they're incredible. So they know how to write for singers as well, because they are storytellers and performers themselves. So it's kind of shocking that this is the first time they've done this, and I'm never letting them go.
Stalking us, he says. Yeah. And then when the producers asked him to do the show, he said, well, I know who has to do the music. It's the Rescues. And so the producers showed up at one of our shows in LA after we were hanging in the lobby, and they came up and asked us if we wanted to write the Lost Boys musical. And we were just like, what? It was the most unusual and most exciting question that we've ever been asked after a show.
I think they did an impeccable job of honoring the time period, of creating a world with this sound. It's really cohesive, but it's really theatrical, and it forwards the plot. I mean, like, it's at once a pop song and also a musical theater anthem.
The Rescues really got their assignment right, and it's very, very, very hard to do this right. The Lost Boys itself is probably the biggest musical I'll have ever worked on. It's a massive, creative delight.
This music doesn't come around often. Like, I think it's just amazing. You get to have a rock concert every night. Yep. You get to kill some vampires and get to sing about it. Like, what else could you want in this show? It's amazing, and
What
it's a hell
else
of a lot
could
of fun.
you want?
So come see it.
My name is André De Shields, and it's Black History Month. And not that my history doesn't occur to me on any other days. I take this opportunity to be very specific about what I am grateful for and what I want to praise. So today, I start with a word. This is going to be an Ubuntu day. Ubuntu is from Southeast Africa, and it means I am because you are. But there's a mythological bird in the African culture. It's called the Sankofa bird, and It's unique because it doesn't fly, it walks. It consistently goes in a forward motion. But occasionally, the Sankofa bird can turn its head and look in the opposite direction of where it's headed. The lesson being, how could you possibly know where you are going if you don't know where you've been? And that is what February Black History Month is all about.
Moulin Rouge remains one of Broadway's hottest tickets in New York City and on the road, featuring more than 70 songs from some of the biggest artists of all time.
Hey, welcome to Al Hirschfeld. I am Samantha Dodemaide. I play Nini here at Moulin Rouge, the musical. Let's take a little backstage tour. So first I am going to sign in. Everyone has to say that they're here. On our little sign-in board, we usually have our cast change here, the in-out. We're a little bit early for that right now, so come on up. Lots of stairs here at the Al Hirschfeld. My knees love it. So here is my humble little dressing room. We have my fairy lights. We've also, my favorite part of this dressing room is actually the neon sign that I got created, who says, "Who doesn't pig?" Now, lots of people have come into my dressing room and says, "Who doesn't dig?" It's a line from the show. I say to Santiago, "Who doesn't pig?" So that's my favorite. I've also got my Shrine of Tiger Balm. I'm not sponsored by Tiger Balm, unfortunately. I wish I was. But this helps me get through the show. Here are my beautiful costumes, created by Catherine Zuber. They are exquisite. I don't have many, as you can see, this is my whole costume. This is it. So I never thought at 36 years old that that's all I would be wearing on stage, but alas, here we are, and on Broadway, which is very exciting. Here's my favorite part of our crew, the hair, the Wham team. Wait, is this my wig? This is my wig. Look, yes, surprise! I'm a blonde in the show. And here's a fun fact about my wig being blonde, is that originally when I had a wig fitting, I was told that everyone was going to have their own colour hair. And I looked shocked because Robin Herder, who had originated the role on Broadway, had blonde hair. And I'm a brunette. And I was so disappointed because I just felt that my Nini had to be blonde. And so I asked Alex Timbers and the team, and the hair team and the creative team, if I could please be considered to be blonde. And I sent them a whole bunch of photos from me from other shows being blonde. And then finally, they accepted the request. And here she is. Welcome to the stage. Welcome, actually, to the Moulin Rouge. As you can see, our theatre is completely immersive. If you look around, we are within the Moulin Rouge. I think this is one of the most incredible scenic designs I have ever seen. I remember the first time I walked into the theatre, which was at the Regent Theatre in Melbourne, and there were audible gasps from the cast and crew when we first saw the set and the stage for the very first time. So at the moment, our cast is doing what we call a lift call. So every day before a show, we often have cast changes. Someone might be sick, someone might be on vacation. So we have to make sure we touch all of the complicated parts of the show before the show. Thank you so much for joining me here in Montmartre at the Moulin Rouge on this little backstage tour. I've really loved showing you around. See you at the show soon.
Hadestown is a winner of 8 Tony Awards and still a hell of a good time on Broadway. Here's an exclusive musical performance from the Broadway.com studio.
What I wanted was to fall asleep, close my eyes and disappear like a paddle on a stream, a feather on the air. Lily white and poppy red, I trembled when he laid me out. You won't feel a thing, he said, when you go down.
That's all for now. I will see you next time. I'm Tamsen Fadal, and this is The Broadway Show.